Hello, and welcome back after the short break. As everyone in the iGaming after the World Cup has done, we are back with the season 2, episode 8 of iGaming Accent, brought to you by SBC Eurasia. And today we have a wonderful guest, Liutauras Ulevičius. I'm always pronouncing the names incorrectly, so Liutauras, please forgive me about that. He is a president of National Gambling and Gaming Business Association in Lithuania, and we today will be discussing a lot about the regulatory business, what is there, what's happening, what's the future, and we will have a wonderful discussion. But before, as always, we jump into what is happening on the business level, let's first of all understand his journey. And my first question will be, how did you end up in this industry? How did you end up in your current job? Can you little bit entitle us and tell us about what is your background?
Okay, so 19 years in the gambling, I would say would be quite a figure.
Yeah.
But 19 years before, I started as a communication consultant from the PR agency, and I was working again with the same association. Now I'm leading. So before that, I was a communication consultant. Later on, I developed into public affairs and lobbying consulting, and step by step, 3 years ago, I became the leader of the association. The members elected me as a president, and here I am. So in fact, yes, I started as a press release drafter, as an analyst, as an Excel guy, etc., etc. Later on, I developed knowledge about the forces, about the players, about the companies, about the responsibility issues, etc., etc. So yeah, it was quite a journey. 19 years.
Yeah, 19 years is quite a tag. I think that we had a guest that had 20 years, and I was always imagining that should be something big. So whenever we will you will have 20 years, there is a invisible badge that is coming up, and it is always following you around, because 20 years in the industry is quite an achievement. I'm only on my 11th year. Yeah, only on my 11th year, so halfway there. So, and I think that once you enter the industry, it's really, really hard to leave, because we are such a wonderful and such an interesting, at least, and fast-moving industry. And we will be talking today quite a lot about that and how are things changing and so on. First of all, I really want to understand, because I had some encounters. I was working on B2C side most probably, and we had association in different countries, and we were sometimes part of it, sometimes we were enemies, I would say. And we were always different parts, and I really want to understand what is the role of an industry association, and what is, let's say, who do you represent? Is it do you represent operators? Do you represent regulatory? Do you represent players itself? Or is this something in between, who connects all these dots and tries to stabilize, three step chair? So what is the role of association?
The infrastructure or the structure in the market is quite a mixed one, but again, keeping in mind that the view on the gambling, we could divide today, of course, into online and on-site business sectors, and lotteries are usually a separate one. So naturally, in Lithuania, we have strong sectors in all these areas. In online environment, especially association, land-based, second association, lotteries, first association, and one more division. We have online sector divided into foreign-based and national component.
Okay. So
quite a lot of associations which are uniting players from the specific market segment. And my association is uniting businesses which are mainly working on the land-based scenario. Of course, today, to find a single company which has only land operations and has no online, it's impossible. But still, the basic area, or the basic attention focus from the members of my association, they are looking into land-based business as their main factor. But of course, other players in the market, they have totally different perspectives. So, several companies work from the outside, let's say Betson. Several companies like lotteries, they are state monopoly, formerly now it's private monopoly, which is like exclusion from the lottery sector, but still we have a private factual monopoly in Lithuania in the lottery segment, which is not that frequent in Europe. And yes, in land-based, again, we have different sectors like land-based casinos, arcades, kind of arcades with limited fixed betting machines, etc., etc. So we have very diverse operations. Formerly, we could have even bingos, but we don't have actually bingos because they are not profitable in Lithuania due to the taxation system. And again, what we see in the market, we can show later on the market structure. You will see that the online sector is totally dominating and it's growing step by step. For example, in the latest quarter, online grew again approximately 1/3 of revenues, GGR, gross gaming revenue, grew in 1/3 in one quarter. Why? We are all the market is looking and trying to understand why, what changes are happening. And at the same time, land-based operations, they are more or less stable.
Stable, yeah.
Plus minus, of course, fluctuations on the seasonal level, on other issues, but mainly it's plus minus remaining quite a few years, actually, approximately 5 to 10 years. The level of revenues in the land-based scenario is more or less fixed, whereas online, of course, is growing. Lotteries are growing on the like 5 to 10% per year scenario. So
it's a stable growth for lotteries, but the online is booming, as I understand. And
online is booming. And the question is, what from are these players coming? What's the sector they are achieving to find new revenues, new initiatives, new incentives to make sure people are coming to play and to spend their leisure time for online. It's a mystery. Of course, there are some conspiracies about some gray market issues, or maybe players coming from other market segments, or players coming from other member states, European member states.
For example, and trying the local casinos, as I understand, local online casinos.
For example, the leading players, they have very good online representation. They have very good service level. They have quite a wide range of supply, different games, different options, etc., etc. And one of the sector which is definitely making an impact is Lithuanian diaspora playing from outside in Lithuanian companies, and it might be related to the growth. And some players, some companies, they identify this as quite a factor in revenue building. So diaspora, they are allowed, because foreign citizens, they are not allowed legally to play in Lithuania entities. But the diaspora, that means Lithuanian citizens, which are temporary.
But one question. So if I'm a foreigner, I cannot play online in Lithuanian operators. But if I'm Lithuanian and I'm, for example, from USA, I can still play it, as I understood, right?
In case I have a citizenship. I can play. In case I'm not a citizen, I am not allowed to.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Like, cut you up. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. And it's been growing, and the fact that online is booming and offline is not budging, there might be some mystery there that still needs to be like interconnected. But that's a good insight as well. And as I understood, the Lithuanian market is quite complicated because too many players are there, like offline, online, there is some monopoly there. There is also like lottery, and like many things are moving around. And as from your like insight, I understood that there is also a problem of gray area there, right? So there are many operators, most probably from the offshore licenses, like different country licenses that they are using that are targeting Lithuanian players, and that might be also a raising problem. So I would like to understand what is and I also know one thing, because we have, like, when I was on a B2C side, I have experienced that as well, because there was recent changes in Lithuania regarding the development around advertising, taxation, responsible gaming, and overall direction of gaming regulations as well. So can you little bit tell me about what was changed and where this direction is going on as well?
Okay, so the major change was started as made an impact for the industry from last year, when the advertising formally was disallowed, with some exceptions, with some prolongations. And although the parliament members were declaring very happily, very loudly, that we are building public space without gambling advertising, it will be safe, nobody will gamble anymore, etc., etc. Nothing worked. But
I have seen this so many times, and we had so many guests from different countries that went through the same story, like, let's ban the advertising and gambling will die. And that's always a bad idea, because that's when the gray market flourishes, that's when people understand that's where companies pour much more into retention, product involvement, and like after maybe 1 year, everything stabilizes and come back to the same. In your case, in Lithuania's case, as I see from the numbers, it didn't take that long as well.
Actually, it didn't make an impact to stop the expenditure. Actually, the impact was 108% around. It supported further growth. Okay, I'm joking a bit, but the numbers are showing this effect. Actually, the growth level, for example, let's take quite a period. Now we have approximately in 2025 year we have a GGR of around 310 million plus minus. Before the COVID, which like a good comparative point to compare, in 2019 the level of expenditure was about around 150 million. That means for 6 years the market doubled. So you can extract the numbers, what is the growth level sector by sector, year by year, etc. But I will not get into the details.
Yeah, but overall it's doubled.
Yeah, the growth continues. Nevertheless, what are the parliamentary members initiating? And the problem is that, how to be polite, they are doing loud and very bold declarations, but they don't have experience. They don't have understanding of the market and the players. They don't understand what is driving the player to play more. They don't understand that the driving forces is the risk factor, the turnout you are inputting, and the money you are getting back, the average level of the money is coming back to you. They don't understand what's the game cycle. They don't understand what's the difference when the minimum cycle of the game is 3 seconds or 5 seconds. What's the difference between the 1 week lottery and electronic gaming in the casino? And that's why they are doing wrong decisions. For example, they forbid the gambling advertising last year and said, okay, gambling advertising is forbidden except betting, because the sports it's less, it's like making less impact. The problem of the factual situation, the expenditure on the gambling advertising increased, it not decreased.
I didn't know that, or I would say that it would be increased, because everybody has a sportsbook. Everybody can advertise via sportsbook. I have even seen the countries where they ban everything except of sponsorships, and like sponsorship is not banned because like government cannot support all the like all the teams and all the infrastructure, and they still want the money of iGaming into the sponsorships, but they want at least same time to ban everything everywhere. And also I've seen countries where they ban everything but offline. Online everything is probably again everything is allowed. Like you can do PPCs, you can do like digital advertising, Facebook, and so on and so forth. But TV and outdoors is totally banned, and like they are happy about it. So yeah. sorry for interrupting, but the similarities between the
Yes.
fast and non-realized actions between the governments is
The tragic and comedian part of this happening is that we were writing all these before the changes, but it will not work. It will change differently. Yeah. The impact will not be efficiency, but it will be vice versa. For funny examples, we said, okay, in case betting is so safe in your positioning, why are you not allowing advertising for bingo saloons? Bingo are definitely much more safer than betting, but you are not allowing bingo advertising. Why? What's the reason? Okay.
And nobody could answer, most probably, right? And like nobody had. Yeah.
So funny example continues, but of course politicians they need like a scapegoat to say they are in charge, they are bad people, we have to punish them. Of course, online is very difficult to catch and to take into the custody, into the trial or whatever. So what's possible to do? It's possible to take and to catch all the land-based
people
entities. So where it is casino, maybe it's arcade, maybe it's the same bingo or betting point, whatever. Yes, they're trying to make high and higher barriers. Okay, the minimum age limit from 18 to 21. Okay, very safe, nobody will play. No change, no impact. Okay, so local municipalities will need to issue special permissions for every place every several years.
1 year, every 1 year. Even I think like every 1 year.
Okay, and we are discussing with municipality people. We are saying, okay, you don't give. Let's hypothetically, you don't issue the permission for us to operate in the land-based place. What would average player do? She or he will definitely go to online and play there because no restrictions there. No. If we restrict land-based, they will not go online. How? Why? Look into the numbers, and again,
look into the data. It's double the digits every year.
Exactly.
Like why?
And we're showing the graph when online is increasing every year and the land-based is stable. No. We have to close all the land-based entities, and that will be a solution. We will win this fight. Still, they are fighting this fight without any option of the possibility to win. Okay, let it.
I think that I have one like insight not insight, but a question that I really want to ask you, because I think that we have seen it around Europe, around Asia as well, in USA as well, now in Latam as well. What is happening like before the election? Like there is big talks, right? Let's ban this, let's ban that. Like I'm not gonna use those words why politicians use this type of tactics and so on, but I think that every listener will understand why it's a good thing that there is a one big guy which we licensed last year, but now they became too big, so we can like use that into our advantage to win one more time. But I think that always when we talk about the regulatory, always when we talk about the restrictions, the responsible gaming and so on and so on, there should be some kind of benchmark, like, do you know anyone that has done this in a good way, let's say, or has been doing a great job, but nobody's taking their like actions, nobody's asking them, or nobody's copying them? I have seen like countries copy each other in a bad way. Like a neighboring country has done this. Okay, let's just take it and let's just copy it, and we will have the same bad results because after 1 year, everything is stabilizing on the end. So, is there like, for example, is there Baltic like gambling landscape somewhere that is like good example to take, or is something in Europe, something in maybe in USA? Like, is there anything?
Unfortunately, Baltic region would not be a good example, but yes, in Europe we have Great Britain. From my personal experience and my experience working with British companies, the British regulator is at least looking into the market as for the clever standpoint. Just a small example. They initiated, I think, the change in the maximum sum of betting or wages in online is some time before. So before the change, they started a public scientific inquiry. After the inquiry, they asked market players to respond with their alternative solutions. After this, it was presented to the parliament discussions. After that, the gaming commission made some changes, and only then the changes became implemented in the market. I cannot remember for sure, but it was 2 or 3 years for the changes from the initial standpoint, from the initial idea to develop into market change, implemented market change. And that's a difference. Whereas, for example, in Lithuania, sometimes we have the period from the idea to implementation, sometimes it's 2 or 3 months. What can you do from the scientific, from the rational point of view?
Yeah.
Or 3
Where
months.
is the research? Where is the analytics? Where is the different direction? Where is the quorum? Like, what is happening? Like, how?
When I look into materials from the British Gaming Commission, I see 200 pages material, which is a serious study with a serious arguments, serious scenarios, versions, alternatives, etc. In our version, usual scenario is one paper explaining the change and the draft change of the law. That's it. And you are allowed 5 minutes in the committee, in the parliament, to express your counter arguments into one page of in some cases, on the radical changes. So one of the change which is happening or in the process now in Lithuania, for example, it's we are trying to copy a good example from Germany. The Germany has this player's card or something like that, virtual player's card. When you are in online environment, you are followed in different operators, and your maximum
spending limit across all the operators. There is one database where everybody is coming and taking the data, and when this limit is hit, nobody like that user cannot play in any other casinos. Yeah.
From the player safety perspective, it's a very good concept, and it's a very good idea to be implemented. It has one major problem with the green market. In case you implement it fully in the market, there are other markets which will ask you to play there without any card, without any confirmation, etc. So that inside Germany, it's working good. But I talked a lot with Estonian guys, which has a special tax rate of 6% of GGR, which is directly oriented. They don't say this loudly, but this tax rate is directly oriented to German, French, or other European players to play with a higher turnout rate in Estonian online gaming operators. And they are doing this, I would say, paralegally. That means on the gray level, which is although illegal in Germany, but it's legal in Estonia. And it's, again, we have a clash between legal systems. So the problem with the player's card is this external influence. Yes, in case you implement it fully inside your country, that's okay. But then you have to deal with these illegal supply operators, which is very, very frequent problem, which is not yet solved. Sorry to say that, but
I think that's to be solved. I don't know what needs to be done, but I don't see any like foreseen future where the black market and gray market will be solved for the very regulated markets, and they don't thrive. So I'm still on the pessimistic side, even with the new technologies and everything. But I'm not sure that some good solutions might be there.
From my perspective, we have several scenarios, and one of the scenarios what might happen in the European Union. Of course, you are in Sakartvelo a bit happier people. Yeah,
we don't know.
But in European Union, in some point, the will of the regulators to regulate everything might expand into online environment, and in that case, for example, the German scenario might be implemented throughout the European Union.
Yeah, I think that might be a solution. Like,
Yeah,
this might be.
Actually, we see first signs with this pan-European taxation of 3% of GGR or something like that for online gambling. It might be a first sign that European Commission is starting to look into online gambling as a new field for the regulation. In case this happens, it's only a matter of calendar and a matter of, I would say, lobbying initiatives to implement on the pan-European level. In that sense, again, in the European Union, it will be solved inside. But we have lots and lots of operators outside European Union, which will be happily supplying rich Europeans with extra services.
I know few of the operators on the gray and black side. I think that still gray is like a very good word there. Like, it's not black, it's not white, it's in between.
Yeah.
That when UK taxation became 40%, they were so happy and they were so excited that their time has come and like new era for their like online operation has started, that I understood that they are hunting for the bad regulations. Like, they are waiting for the countries to make like mistakes and make a regulation that will hurt them, like hurt the country itself, the people, the players, and so on. And they are the, like, like a starting line, like when you shoot and they are running. Like, they are the first one to arrive after the regulation.
Exactly.
As soon as the regulation is executed, they are the ones that come. And from online statistics, like the trackers, like similar weapons, so on and so on, you can see how much traffic like is switched to the gray casinos after the regulation happened. And that I have seen in many countries. And just the few months ago, on one of the events, this was the discussion between like a big group and on a party, and we were like having a blast there because they were so excited. They were telling, okay, now we are playing this, and I'm watching like, okay.
Yes. From another association which is dealing with online players, they made some kind of market experiment. They hired the social survey company, and it tried to estimate about approximate gray market level. What's because the player base database is more or less the people are unknown, and we can like on the random sample make some questionnaires, try to ask them, are they playing outside of legal operators? And out of this survey, they got that around 1/3 of the market, online market, is gray. That means it's not in the Lithuanian legally licensed operators, but playing somewhere outside. Of course, quite a large portion is in some various poker-related sites, but again, still it's anti. Classic blackjack, classic devices, they are also in high demand, and it's according to their estimations, approximately 1/3 of the market is in the gray level.
And imagine how much of the money is missed out from taxation, exactly. How much of the risks player face, because like some grays is good. Like, some operators in the gray area are still following all the things, like the big ones, like crypto casinos, most probably sometimes they are following like good regulations, internal regulation, because they are built on trust, right? When you are a crypto casino, you need to have a trust of the players. So if you have a good crypto casino, then you don't need to be afraid that your money will be lost, you cannot get it back, and so on. But there are also very bad players in this space. Like, they don't, they will take your deposit and never give you back any on top of your winnings. They will make it like a hell to withdraw it, and they don't care about their reputation, because like in 1 week they will open up the new casino with new brand name, new URL, new domain, and everything. So, and that is when the problem arises. 1/3, imagine like what is like right now. Well, we know the numbers as you shared with us, so it's growing. And imagine that 1/3, almost 1/3 is missing there.
That is, yes.
Yeah. Okay. We were discussing a little bit about what is happening right now and what has happened during the previous times. But we also like discuss a little bit about European gambling regulation, and there are small signs. But from your perspective and from your experience, like what is future of gambling in Baltic? So where do you see Lithuania in next 3 years, like other Baltic countries in next 5 years, including some opportunities like for operators, suppliers, and also investors? Because like as you mentioned, like big players from around the like Betson, you mentioned it, they are coming. Also, Fortuna Entertainment has came with the Top Sport acquisition and so on. So many players, like international players, are coming to the country as well. So where do you see this going forward?
So I will start off with in the Baltics, we have quite a diverse markets. In the classic Scandinavian countries like Norway, Sweden, Finland, usually or historically, they were oriented towards state monopolies. Nowadays, the Finland next year, I think in July, they are opening the market for the private players. So the Finland will change and quite heavily. Sweden was forced to allow again private companies according to European law. Norway still remains with Svenska Spel, I think, or something like that, with a state monopoly. Poland, in itself, again, the Totalizator Sportowy or something like that, they are again from the state-owned perspective. So we are still very heavy on the state monopolies in the gambling, but in the Lithuania, in Latvia, in Estonia, state is almost not a player. And in Latvia, the state owns the national lottery, and is in Estonia, but in Lithuania, as I said, it's even lotteries are privatized. So I would say that what's happening now, we are moving with state involvement or without state involvement into the more online perspective. Land-based gambling will step by step will be pushed out of the market into the online environment. And when I talk about online environment, it might be diverse. It might be legal. It might be not legal, because people are very quickly adopting to a new service, to a new provision of services, and they are happy they're playing there. So regulators, with their like old school tactics, they will push out the small margin or small profit margin players outside of land-based environment. Okay, several casinos will stay intact. Let's say 1-2 per country, or
big ones most probably.
Yeah, according to European average, it's one casino per 1 million people approximately. So you can count the state size and how much land-based casinos they could be operating. Casinos, they have high profit margin, whatever the barriers, they will consider them, they will go under them and still remain profitable. So on the land-based, the casinos will be, in a long term, the only real player, the serious player with a substantial part of the market, whereas online environment will become a major and main part of the game gambling. What we see in Lithuania and in other countries, lotteries are also moving in the same scenario. Although the retail chains, they support quite substantial land-based operations, but again, year by year, the structure inside the lotteries sales, it's moving again to the online environment. Lotteries are becoming online lotteries. And at the same time, although regulators are still thinking that lotteries are different from gambling, but what we see in the online lotteries is step by year becoming the same games of chance as a.
Yeah, and I have seen like offline lotteries, when they become online lotteries, they are adding the verticals by vertical. So they are adding first like casino games, then they are adding sports books, then they are adding poker, then they are adding first games, and like they are becoming more like an online operator, but led by the lottery itself. So lottery is becoming their acquisition level, and all the other things are there to stay for the retention.
So the further gambling moves to online environments, the less part of lotteries will take in the spot. Because in the online environment, what we see the domination of the highest risk games. That means
instant.
Like bingo, nobody plays bingo online. because you can play blackjack, you can play full all-in games, and then you can play very quickly with very high risk factor, etc., etc. And low-risk games online, they are not interesting. We have the Lithuanian statistics show that the fixed wage games online, they relate approximately half to 1% of the total revenues. That means it's nothing. It's nothing. Whereas the dominant sectors are A-level machines, the table games, etc., etc. So that's the second change. The online environment will eat the lottery side. And the next thing what we are looking and what we see again with the same top spot acquisition, we will see if it is possible to see oligopolization of the market. That means less
Big
and
players.
less will be remaining in the market. We will take out larger and larger chunks of the market. For example, the same top spot last year in 2025, we got around 3/4 of the total market profit in Lithuania. One company, because it's so big, the efficiency of this company is so large that it dominates under the supply for the players. Players, they are choosing this company because this company gets in the first line the best games, the most interesting games. The suppliers of the games, again,
they want to be with them. Yeah.
This company, the company gets better percentage of the
commercial because of the volume. It's laws of economics, like you have a big scale and everybody comes to you.
And at the same time, they have very large advertising budgets. And again, they dominate on the advertising budget side because smaller players, they are just pushed out of the market because these dominant players, they can buy all ad space available.
Yeah, I've seen similar things in Romania as well. I'm not going to name the companies there, but everybody will understand what is happening there, even though there are like 45 different companies competing for the market.
So that's the last change. What we will see the oligopolization or the market force concentration. What might happen in some markets which are devastated by unresponsible gambling companies, we could see a turn towards state-owned monopolies. For example, in Lithuania, when we have official register of requests not to let play to gamble, like a self-exclusion system, which is official register. And we see direct correlation between the number of the requests in the register and the online sector growth. So approximately 50,000 of GGR correlates to one request not to let gamble. And it has no correlation with the land-based revenues, but direct correlation with the growth of GGR. So online growing problems, they are accumulating. And that might, in some timeline, become a serious problem. And politicians, in some point of the timeline, might decide, okay, that's enough. We are closing the market for the private players. Everything will be done by state company, which is like safe, which is controlled, and will not operate irresponsibly. So that might happen, not today, not next year, but in a 5 to 10 years period, it might happen because the social feedback, the social problems might accumulate to too high level.
Thanks for that. And now at the same time, we are approaching the time when it's a little bit fun, let's say, tradition that we have on our podcast. So this is a blind question part where, first of all, our previous guest, David, was CMO of STS, left you with a question. And as you can imagine, it was during the World Cup time. So it's connected to the World Cup. I will ask the question. And at the same time, you will have to leave the blind question to the next guest.
Okay.
And sometimes it's very fun because we don't know who will be the next guest and it will match, or sometimes it will be totally out of context and that's so fun as well. But what David left you, and I'm gonna read it word by word because I want like exact wording. So, what is the worst thing that happened to you during the World Cup as an industry professional?
Actually, okay. As an industry professional, when I look into the market figures, I see the spike in betting, online betting. That's fully understandable. That's okay. Good sporting event, larger bets, more bets. That's fully understandable. But much more growth in Lithuanian sector was not in the betting, but in non-limit online gambling. That means games were growing even higher because the betting increased approximately 20-25%, whereas this non-limit machinery, they produced 30-35% GGR more.
I have little insight into that. So more players are coming for the sportsbook. They are placing a bet on the sportsbook, and while they're waiting for the events to happen, they are playing casino. And before also, when they are winning, they are also trying to play and wager on the casino. So that's why it's always, and it's interconnected, like you cannot grow the only sportsbook customer base. And that is really, really strange only to have that, because every casino and every operator is trying to cross sell and have as much multi-product users as are possible. But yeah, that's something that is interesting always to see from the inside and how everything is happening. Okay, then now you need to leave some blind question to our next guest as well.
Okay. My question would be from two parts. Is it possible to make a politician gambling aware? Is it possible that a public politician becomes understanding the gambling issues in real terms, not in the populist perception, but in real terms and in a full understanding of what's happening and why happening? If yes, how?
That's like, no, I don't know. I hope that our next guest will be like, will have some creative approach to this, because if speaking officially and speaking with the real facts, like there is no way that I see that happen. Maybe if in some country one of the politicians is ex-poker player or something, and he knows what was happening, or like before going to politics.
Yes, from Lithuania.
Yeah, or maybe like before going to politics, he was like ex-CEO of XYZ big gambling company, and he understands what's happening there. But other than that, I don't see. So good luck to the next guest answering that. So let's little by little wrap this up. And the big event is happening already in 1 month after this. It is SBC Lisbon, my favorite place to go every year, and I always anticipate of going. By the way, you can come and you can see. We will have a stand there, and we can shake hands to everybody who is listening. And this is the year they always take one like major legends from around the world, and from the inside the industry and from the outside the industry. And this year they took Michael Jordan, one of my favorite players. I need to find him somehow at the event after listening, and I need him to sign my card. And by the way, my card will be tripled or 10 times more valuable after that, but let's see if that happens or not. And like, I remind everyone that they can secure the tickets. You can like qualify for it, and like it will be huge this year. It's in September, and see you there. And on another note, Liutauras, thanks for being here. Thanks for being in iGaming Accent, brought to you by SBC Eurasia. I'm Vakho, and I remind all the listeners to subscribe to us into all the different channels, like where they listen. It might be Spotify, it might be Apple Music. We are everywhere. And see you next week.